I have to do it. Okay, stop the video. Okay, sorry for this interruption. Okay, so all I'm saying is that I have seen a lot of people, that they don't work on their resume, and they are rightly so, because you don't have to work on your resume on day-to-day basis. It is something when you are really preparing for something, you tend to go deeper into it, and you work it out. You just update your latest information, whatever you have want to do, or you have got some accomplishments, achievements, or some certifications that you have done. You just add on it, and then people randomly start sending their resumes to job consultants, job portals, or concerned organization where they're trying. Now, when they do that, there are n number of things that happens. Number one and the foremost is they don't even realize that what they are writing, where they are writing, and they just try to accommodate whatever they want to write on that page, because when they are really searching for job, uh, they realize that if they are late in sending the CV, they might miss out on a very important position, because somebody else might send it before them, and in that hurry they forget what to do. They don't update their CV at all, or if they update it in such a haphazard way that they miss out on some important parts, which I will share in the subsequent slide. Secondly, very importantly, when they send the resume, many a times I've seen people don't check that resume at least once, forget about twice. Ideally, you should go through your resume twice before you send it to any organization. Why? For a simple reason, that when people don't look at it, because why people don't look at it? Why people don't look at their resume very often? Because they feel that this is their resume, they know everything what is written on it, and they are very clear about it, that that entire information is all about yours. Now, you may not even realize that sometimes there are some errors. There could be spelling errors, there could be some grammatical errors. There was something that you updated last time, but you never realized whether the dates are synchronized in a chronological order, or it is just like that. So they just send it randomly. And when they don't get an interview call, there is nothing surprise about it. Or even if they are called for an interview, and because the person who on the other side must have gone your resume minimum 2 times or 3 times before they call you. They just don't call you and do it interview randomly. And when they ask you questions, something from your past, something from your early work history, you people, I've seen a lot of people get shocked. Is it me who has written this? I mean, is it he's talking about me? And that element of surprise takes you aback, and your chances just fade, and that really reflects on you that you are not prepared for this interview at all. Though you must have prepared and rehearsed a lot of questions in your mind that you wanted to answer, but the small silly mistakes can ruin your chances to impress upon the person. Or sometimes it happens, so, people who are interviewing you, they have a very watchful eyes. Even a small spell mistake or a grammatical mistake, they will catch it just like that, and that gives an impression about the person who is going for an interview. So understand, these are very, very critical things. I'm going to definitely take it in detail, and we'll move forward with this. Okay, just one. So those of you who may not know me, this is a small introductory slide. I'm Arun Tukral. I'm a science graduate. I'm a life and a performance coach. And on Tuesday nights, this is more about my coaching. I impart to various professionals, people in daily life. I run a recruitment and a staffing company. I have been into the business of, I'm into sales and marketing for more than 2 decades, and that has been my forte. From where I learned everything, whatever I'm speaking, it is more of my experience. I have been building on some habits. I have become a blogger, though not a very professional blogger, but I'm a very amateur blogger who is just trying to learn what to do, because this has never happened in my life. And basis which I'm also able to build a lot of content. I write resumes. I prepare people for interviews for various occasions at various times that you will know over a period of time when I finish this presentation. And some of you who have been watching me or have seen me, I have been a very sports and fitness freak right from my childhood, and this has now gone to a different level altogether. I'm just working hard to prepare for a big marathon, or something which is very big, which is in my mind right now, though it is 2 to 3 years away, right? I mean, far right now, but this is something I'm really working on very seriously. So this is all about me. Those of you who may not know about me, this is just a brief introduction. Now we'll come to the core part about resume building. what is resume building, how to build a resume, what to write, what not to write, where to send the resume, when to send the resume. We'll cover almost everything. And if we miss out on anything, feel free to reach me and feel free to ask a question over here, and I'll love to answer that. Okay. Now, do you know that there are there are more than, I mean, I can list down even hundreds of reasons that why your resumes, even if they reach at the right place, you don't get the call, you don't get an interview call. And in the first place, are they really reaching at the right place? Because I can now give you this picture right from what we see as a consultant, what I have been on the other side of the fence when I was working in the organizations. And I've also been on the interview boards of various organizations, as well as I'm a certified assessor who does assessments in the assessment center when people are assessed on the competencies. Now, all these things, when I sum it up together, I see that a lot of people struggle in understanding, what is the importance of their resume. And nothing surprising, when you tell them, a lot of time they just negate it. You know why? Because they feel that they are well equipped, and or maybe that they are not looking out for a job. So why to worry about it at this point of time? And as I said, as I mentioned in the beginning of my talk, that the moment any opportunity arises, these are the people who run here and there. They either try to copy some other format, either they try to copy the words, and what they miss out when they copy the words, when they copy the other resume, they don't realize, they're playing with the format, and they're also playing with the fonts. They're also playing with the words, which were like mentioned for some, because I get a lot of resumes for resume making every week, every day. And I see that some people are very smart, they'll copy it from somebody else, and then they will try to make a full CV. And when they do that, they don't realize one can easily find out whether it is a copied format or it is a actual format that they have done. How many of you really have experienced this? If you have seen any resume, have you seen this? Just type yes or no. I'm okay with yes or no. Any yes or no on this can help me to understand that this has really happened. Do you see people try to run very fast when they have to search for a job? All of a sudden, they'll try to do everything under their hat because they don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So I'll share with you, some of the facts, and those facts will give you a lot of perspective that what mistakes people generally make when they are making their resume, or if they have made their resume and they don't look at it. First and foremost, I want you to tell you that excuse me, I think somebody has to please put it on mute. So if you look at it, any recruiter or any person or any company, any hiring manager or an HR manager will not spend more than 5 or 7 seconds at the max on the first page, and that to the first half of the page. They don't spend more than that time. If your resume doesn't speak well in that first half of your first page, you have lost it. I'm telling you, you have lost it, for a simple reason that there has been, they don't have time to go through anything if it is not mentioned very clearly. So remember, this is the first and foremost thing, that why resumes are rejected at that stage. Number two, a lot of people I have seen, a lot of people, because right from the right from the time that they enter into the professional world, I'm sure while you are listening to me, you know what you have mentioned on your resume. People write objective. What is the purpose? What is the objective? Now, when they write objective, people know why you are applying for this job. If you are an experienced person, they know why you are applying for a job. So the word objective is obsolete. It is not used anymore. People use career summary. They use career profile or my profile. They don't talk about the objective. Objective is no meaning. So in your career summary, everything should capture, including your objective will cover. It speaks about who you are, what you do, what is your expertise. And this should not be more than, I would say, maybe 6 or 7 lines at the max, or maybe around 50 to 60 words at the max. So a lot of time you will see that a lot of people write objective, and that objective itself will take a lot of space on the front page of your CV. So don't write any objective. If you're an experienced professional, there is something that you already have. So simply write the career summary. Next, a lot of time I've seen that because when the people don't know how to write, uh, how much to write, they tend to write a more because they are short of words, because that's where content developers work a lot in writing the same thing in lesser amount of words, because words have effectiveness. If you use the right words, they can convey a longer message into a short message. So many people, when they don't know and when they try and do it on themselves, they write too long, or their CVs are outdated. When I say outdated, I mean to say, like, for example, they talk about objective, they talk about their education right to the level of their intermediate. While they are around 10 years of experience, there is no point. Nobody is interested to know what you did in your intermediate or you did it in your college in terms of your scoring. Some people even write how much they score in first year, second year, third year. And I'll tell you, it is not their fault. Primarily because when they made their first CV, they did it like that, and everything remained there, and they kept on adding as they grew in the career in terms of various jobs and various roles that they have done. And what happens? It all eats a lot of space. So thus resume become too big or it becomes outdated. Number 4, importance of top half page, which I've just narrated. What is the importance of the top half page? Because everyone, even at my team, even I first look at the first profile of the person in the first few pages, because I must tell you, this is my experience, purely my experience, that as you grow in age, as you grow further, you tend to become more of, big picture. You want to see things from the top. You don't want to go into micro everything until unless it is needed. So suppose if I am taking an interview, I will definitely go a little deeper into the CV. I will go through, I will read every word, because maybe I don't know what I want to ask, but I will go in very detail. But in the first place, when a resume is coming to me, I'll be just focusing on the first 5 seconds on the top page, because that gives me a preview whether I need to talk about this. I need to look at this CV below or not. So I will put it like this. I'm sure you will correlate. On a Sunday or any day when you get a newspaper, you first read the caption. If the caption is catchy in the first few seconds, you start looking at the ad below. The same happens for an email or for a social media update. If the caption is catchy or it is making some sense in terms of content, then only you go down and you start looking at those things. So that is what I'm saying. That is the importance of the first top half page of your resume. That speaks a lot. Okay. Next very important point where people miss out is that they do not mention any accomplishments. I don't know why, but they don't mention any accomplishment. Their accomplishments are very, I would say they're very subjective. They don't write, very with clear numbers. They don't write something very specific. They don't write even years. So they'll say that I have been performing for last 2 years. But which 2 years you are talking? From when to when? How will I guess? So they don't even mention their accomplishment, and if they mention, they don't mention the specifics about it. The next part is lack of customization. What is customization? Any guesses? I want the group to now, let's be interactive, because as I said, I'll randomly ask. So any thoughts? What is lack of customization? Do they customize their CV? Any thoughts? I'll give you 30 seconds and think about it and type on the chat box. Because if you can figure out what is lack of customization, you will understand the whole meaning of making a CV. So I've just given a small hint also. Okay, let me see. Okay, in line with expertise or strength. Yeah, partially correct. Absolutely. Thanks, Rajesh, for this comment. Anybody else? What comes to your mind? Customization, lack of customization. Wonderful. Thanks, Hassan. For the post you are applying, customize it accordingly. Absolutely. Great. So all of you understand this. I mean, at least the people who have responded, they have responded precisely that you need to customize. You need to customize your message, because once you know which job you are applying, you have gone through the job description, you know very well what is there in it. And I've seen very much that people don't write anything. You know, don't write anything means they don't customize it at all. They just randomly send the same CV. If they're applying at 5 different places, or they will give it to 5 recruiters, they'll say that, okay, send it randomly as it is because I want that, you know. So somebody will guess whether this person is really fit. And you know, you don't get a second chance. Suppose your resume is also shortlisted, you don't get a second chance to make a change, because the same resume will now go inside the system. If it is shortlisted, it will go to the hiring manager, and hiring manager will see and he will interview. Now you don't have chance to customize it. So either the hiring manager will explore a lot of time to understand this, or he will or she will, I mean, you will miss out that opportunity. Next, why you don't get a job, you don't get an interview call, even if your resume is good, because you may be job misfit. Either you are underqualified or you may be overqualified. So a lot of reasons, you know, people don't pay attention to their CV with respect to what qualifications they have. They just jump on it and they give their resume. Next is number 8. I mean, that is gap in employment. So if there is a gap in the employment, I think this is one of the toughest phases that anybody can face, because it's very difficult to convince the hiring managers that why you had a gap. And a very important point is that how do you mention your gap in the resume? That is something very, very tricky, and that you will learn. I think somebody has asked me this question, so I will try to answer it as we go. Lack of employment order. This is another very big problem I've seen. So in very simple words, people don't know how to write their organization in a chronological order. So maybe, you know, they'll start. I mean, I've seen CVs, you know, where I have to search where the first company he is working for. He would have written a lot of things, but you keep searching where is the company name, so that at least I know where he is working. Number one. Number two, people will start from the last. I mean, the first company that they work, it will feature on the top. Don't do that. Don't do that at all, because nobody has time to go down and check, because everything happens in the first page, and that too in the first half of the page. So how effective and attractive you make that first half of the page is very important. And another very important point is grammatical mistake and spell errors. I can tell you, we have certain clients, at least in our experience, they reject the CV outrightly, and they don't entertain the CV. And let me tell you, such companies where they reject the CV outrightly in the first place, there are high chances that you may not even get a chance to apply next time, because that particular CV first goes into their database, and then if it gets rejected, you may not get a second chance to apply in that organization. So very simple, that if you're not clear about those grammatical mistake and spell errors, you need to thoroughly check that, because sometimes what happens, some CV which was made 10 years back, 5 years back, and probably that CV would have got you a job, but if it had some grammatical errors or spell errors still lying, maybe you may not get the next job that easily, because somebody who is scanning the whole thing will catch that fast. And last point that I want to add here from my experience, lack of competencies. Now, when I say lack of competencies, today I see people do write a lot in their CV, including competencies, and they make a list of competencies. And the moment your interviewer will ask you the first question, okay, you have mentioned this competency, so tell me some examples. The moment he asks, people are gone for a toss, because they don't know even the meaning of that competencies. And if they know the meaning also, they may not be able to correlate it with their experiences. So we'll get into that. So these are some of the most common errors, or some of the most common mistakes people make. Even when they make a good CV, or they don't make a good CV, they don't get interview calls back. Is that clear? Write down on your chat box if this is clear. And if you have any questions, please ask me, or please type it on the chat box. I will try to respond. Is this piece clear to you? If yes, just type yes on the chat box. Okay, wonderful. So as I'm getting a lot of acknowledgement, this is quite simple, but it's very, very important that you need to realize sometimes we forget even the smallest mistake that we make. Okay, cool. Thanks. Now, whatever I said, now I'm just, uh, yeah, if somebody has a question, please type it. Now look at this one CV which is in front of you on your screen, which is coming. Look at this CV. The first page, I've just tried to show the first page, and this is a live CV, so I've hidden some information on the top. Look at the first page. They have written the objective. They have written the personal overview. They have written about the academic profile. Then they started with experience, and by the time they will start writing about their company, they have already missed the bus. I've seen a lot of CVs like this on a daily basis. And when we tell these people, please work on your CV, they don't take it seriously. They feel that, okay, something has got them a job, and still they will get a job. And the kind of jobs these people are, I'm not saying that, there is anything wrong with people, but the kind of jobs that they get are also very average or below average jobs. But their aspiration is to go to good companies. Their aspiration is to apply for A category companies, which are A in every sense in terms of culture, salary, products, pipeline, and good management practices. But when it comes to behaving and thinking like that, they don't. This is the irony. So I'm just sharing with you whatever I said. I'm just sharing with you some examples that what people do. Look at another CV. Look at this CV as well. Half of the time, this is again the first page that I'm showing. Career objective, personal details, going up to father's name, age, nationality, gender, marital. Look at this. The first page is gone. I don't know where he's working. Where is he right now? I have no idea. So this is something I want you to please pay attention to it. Okay. Okay, I got a question. Please mention regarding the gap in the career, how to mention the gap in the CV. I will address it as we progress. So I'm sure if you don't have a CV like this, you should be thankful to yourself that you have done a decent job. But if you have a CV like this or something similar to like this, please be cautious that if you are looking for any good job, I can tell you, at least in good companies, they will not be able to take you further. Okay, great. Now, what is a good resume means? Now, if you look at this slide, what is a good resume means? In very, very simple words, there are 5 important things that come. Now, look at on the right-hand side. Now, this CV has been made by me. It's on the right-hand side. Again, this is a screenshot that I've taken. I hope I have properly hidden the name of the company. And now, number of things. Number 1, it has to have a very simple language, because the more simpler the language is, the easier it is for you to understand. Number 2, it has to have a proper format. Now, when people write it in a proper format, it becomes easy for you to catch what exactly you want to read or you want to absorb from that particular CV. Then there is a consistency. What is the meaning of consistency here is that whatever you are mentioning, it has a sequence. That if you look at in this CV also, if you look at this, let me take the cursor on this side and look at this, September 2017 till date. And then we are talking about the professional profile, which I said that is called career summary, not the objective, followed by core skills, followed by the job profile, what exactly that job profile is. I think something is hidden over here, but I have written what are the job responsibilities and job accomplishments. So the moment you create these kind of headings and you write to the point, it becomes very simple for me to grasp a lot from the CV. And very important point is correct information. I have experienced very closely, very recently, people have tried to fudge in their CV. I don't know what makes them to do that. And later on, I got a call saying that, Arun, I have mentioned something on your CV. Maybe I've given your reference also. So I need your help. Probably I've mentioned more salary. I have mentioned something probably in terms of my designation, probably in terms of extra roles responsibilities. I don't know what makes them people to do that. And if they do it, they get caught. If not in the interview, definitely maybe 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, because in all good companies, there are a lot of ref checks that are done. and these ref checks are not done for the references that you give to the organization. They do ref checks on their own. I know there are certain companies, they will go up to your intermediate or your 10th class certification. That will also be validated to the extent your residential address, even if it is in a taluka or a village, they will go to that place also and validate whether you're the same person or not. So don't give any wrong information, because immediately you will be caught. If not immediately, but within a short period of time. So these are some of the good resume means this. We will talk more about it as we move forward. Now there are certain important tips that I want to give. How to make a good CV. Okay, number one, look at this. Don't get someone unknown to write your resume. Suppose you are not able to write your resume. When I say someone unknown, because like us, there are many more people who write resume, professional resumes that they write. Now the unfortunate part is that the person who is writing your resume, first of all, he may not have an idea about your industry, from which industry you are coming from. Number one. Number two, he may not even know what are the important aspects that needs to be highlighted or that needs to be put on the top, because he's not from the industry. And when he's not from the industry, it just takes away the core part of your interview, which is supposed to be there. So that means what I'm saying is that you need to interact with the person very thoroughly who can help you in writing your resume, because it also depends what kind of information he's asking. Because see, I'm talking, there is a difference between a content developer and a seasoned resume writer. Why? Because a content developer will develop beautiful words and contents into your CV, but he may not be able to give that gist, the person behind the CV. So I've seen a lot of time people say that the hiring managers, what they say, I really appreciate, this person has got his CV done professionally. There is nothing wrong that he got it made professionally. But the unfortunate part is it doesn't connect with the person at all. It doesn't speak the language of the person that he is actually. So what happens? The interview, when they go for an interview is in one direction, their CV is in some other direction. So normally what happens, the interviewer, if he's a mature interviewer, he'll keep the CV aside and he'll start interacting with the person face to face. Whereas your CV should be a reference point, and it is in your capability, how you write your resume, that you can shape the interview as per what you want. You can shape the interview, and how it will be shaped, because a lot of questions are going to come from the information that you have provided in that document. So how you provide that information is very important. So it should be coming from people who knows you, or you yourself should write your own resume. Number two, professional email ID. I have seen it many times. People write arungoodluck@yahoo.com. Or something, they'll write some other name in terms of their company name, the previous name, or freedom123 or their name, Ramesh, Rajesh, whomsoever it is, @gmail.com. It doesn't help. So suppose even if you're not getting a Gmail ID because your name is already blocked, maybe you can use one or two numerics, or you can use some other portal or other service provider. But use your name. It has to be like Arun.Thukral or Arun Thukral or something which is very, very close to my professional name. When you don't do this, I have seen a lot of people, creating, because, these, and I'm talking generally for people who are in younger generation, if they are listening in this part, because they made their CVs when they were, they made their resume when they were in college or when they were in school. And at that time, there was a fun time, and they just made it. And due to which the same ID continues even for next few years, and nobody was there to tell them that please change this email ID. So very important that this email ID has to be updated with a professional email ID. Okay. Next, when you write a resume, you need to be very careful about font size. Now the font size has to be somewhere between 10 or 12. I generally write between 11. That is my standard way of writing it, because that is readable and that is very absorbable. And many a times, as I said, when people copy their resumes from other resumes, the font size will automatically change, because the kind of font that you are choosing also changes. They don't realize this. Next, as I've already mentioned, experience in chronological order. That means write the company which is latest on the top, followed by your previous companies. That is how you will be able to create that impact in the first page itself about you. Because many a times what happens that you have spent a lot amount of time in your current company. Suppose you're working for 3 years or 4 years. So that is what, and that is because of which you are applying for a new job. So which means that if you are able to see that, you will be able, I mean, you are going to get evaluated basis on the current company, current role, current responsibility. Nobody is bothered about what you did 10 years, 15 years back. They are bothered about what you have done today, maybe 1 year back, 2 years back, or 3 years back. Next, very appropriately, you should know where to use your bold, italics, and caps. And a lot of people make a lot of mistake. Either they bolded everything bold. They'll make everything bold. Next, you choose attractive and readable font, which I just mentioned. Choose a font which is readable, like Times Roman, Calibri. They are very, very common. Vardhana. They are the most common fonts that are used in making CVs. Then give proper subheadings. What are proper subheadings? Like, for example, you write professional profile. So that is a subheading. Then you come accomplishment. That is one subheading. Then you write education. So a lot of time people mix a lot of things like personal detail, where they write education, they write about their family, their personal details, their date of birth, and their marital status or languages. So they mix everything in one go. Next, I always encourage, don't put a photograph on your CV. Why? Because your photograph may not be updated. Sometimes I've seen, I think I mentioned that in social media sometime back, a couple of months back, because when you put a photograph, a lot of people, a lot of time make a perception about you. That by looking at the photograph, people make perception about the attitude of that person. And sometimes because of that, you might miss out on a very golden opportunity that was on your way. So don't use a photo. So better put a LinkedIn profile. You know, when you put a LinkedIn profile link on the top of your resume, just below your name, if your photo is also there, I'm sure on LinkedIn people put a very professional photo. So the moment somebody will click, anyways, they can see your photo. And these days, a lot many hiring managers and recruiters, and as well as HR managers, they love to go into the LinkedIn profile, because that's where they find out your profile. What are the type of, I think, the discussions that you are a part of it, what kind of comments that you put. They read everything. Not only that, they may even go to the Facebook and they will check your profile, what you do, what you write, what you say. And even without meeting you, they will be easily able to map a picture of you. And that's what I think a lot, many people do, particularly when you are going for a final or a semi-final kind of a round. Next, I've seen a lot of people with their old habits, they put references in the last page, and they feel that, you know, it is very important if they put the references, that will be adding a lot of value in terms of if they write somebody X as a vice president, that will create an impression on the other side. No, not at all. Not at all. You should never put references. You can always write reference on request. Why? For a simple reason that the moment you write any reference, let's say that you had a very good relationship with that gentleman or a lady for that particular time when you worked with them or when they knew you. But over the years, maybe that person is out of touch, or maybe you had developed some sore relationship with them. What will happen if that call will go to that person? Your complete chances will go or vanish immediately. So don't play with fire like this. So don't write your resumes, don't write your references like this. And very importantly, do not detail out all the roles done in the past. I've seen a lot of people, you know, they write from their first company, what are the job responsibilities, what are the achievements, what are the job responsibilities. So when you keep writing it, it will just take a lot of space in your CV, and your CV will become from 5 pages, 6 pages, or 4 pages. And as I said, nobody is even interested to look at the second page also. They are only interested to look at the first page. Cool. Was it useful? Did it help you? Did it give you some insight? Did it give you some insight? Yeah? Just use your chat box. It will give me an idea. Was this useful? Did you learn something new? Did you learn something new today? Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, okay, thank you so much. So now if you look at it, this is, I mean, we can go into more and more aspects about resume writing and interview preparation. But these are something that I've filtered it out with my experience. Till this time, if you have any question related to this particular topic, feel free to ask me. Because it's already 9:15, I didn't realize that this is going to take much time, but we will cover the other part as well. Any questions till this time? And then we'll start. Another 1 minute I'll give and we'll take the questions if any. Just type your question if you have, so that when I move into the next part. Okay, great. Maybe we'll take the question in case if it comes later on. Okay, I think something has come. Okay. So people are talking again and again about the gap in the career. So very simple, very simple. Now, as I said, you need to be authentic, you need to be truthful, and you need to provide correct information. So don't try to misguide or, provide wrong information in your CV. If there is a gap, write it very clearly and specifically from when to when there was a gap. And in the bracket, you should put down very clearly why there was a gap. Particularly when it comes to the female gender, generally the maternity is one of the major reasons that, they have to undergo for a working gap. So very clearly write, it's a maternity related gap that you had, or you wanted to take a break, and or you were on a sabbatical. The right word is sabbatical. People write it sabbatical, that I took a break for some time, so I'm not active. I was not active, but now I'm actively looking at it. So where to mention it, I think that will be very little more, I would say very specific, because that will be based on the CV that you have. So what I'm saying is simply you need to put down the point where you have a gap, from which period to which period, write very specifically the month and the year, from when to when, and why there was a gap. Just put a caption somewhere in the top of the CV or wherever you want that it has to be appropriately fit. Because if you provide the correct information, that means if suppose I receive that CV and if I have read that CV clearly, I know that you have a gap, and when I call you, that means that I'm aware that you have a gap. The problem is that when you don't write it, when you don't mention it, and if I call you and I come to know, oh, you had a gap of 6 months. I mean, if I never wanted somebody to come like that, I would be a little uneasy to have an interview with such a person. I hope that answered to an extent your question. Okay, next. Okay, Sakshi is asking, writing hobbies is okay. So, Sakshi, probably you're a little young. So when you go into the professional world, hobbies have no meaning in this. That is called as areas of interest. So you can write, instead of hobbies, you can write areas of interest. And again, your areas of interest, you need to be very focused where you are applying for the job, and basis which you need to write your areas of interest, because you cannot have an area of interest which is could be a very funny area which may not be liked by that. So you also need to develop your interest based on, as you move forward in the career, which are important and useful in your professional world. Okay, Tejinder is asking, number of pages the resume make matter. Okay, I think what I understood is the number of pages in a resume. So ideally, the resume should not be more than 2 pages if you are quite experienced, not more than 2 pages. But if you're not that experienced, if you're less than 5 years, it should end within 1 page or 1.5 page at the maximum max. But normally people which are less than 5 years, it should end within just 1 page, because that 1 page will convey a lot of information about you that you want to say. Okay, another question. Some people say that if you're a fresher, then your resume should be title, and your experience, then you, sorry, this question is not clear. So Hassan, you need to take your time and you need to write this question. I'm not too clear about this question. Okay. Okay, is this clear? So before I really move, okay, I have one more question. I think Mansi has mentioned, does your firm make CVs as well? Yeah, of course, we are into resume writing, and we also prepare people on the interview preparation, and we'll come to that part as well. Okay, great. Mm, Oh, I'm so sorry. Just hold for a sec. I think unknowingly I have just closed the presentation. Just hold for a few seconds. I'm just bringing back the presentation. Okay. I hope the presentation is visible to all of you. Yeah. And I think I have. Okay. I think. Okay. Okay. I'm getting a lot of questions. So. uh, okay. I think I'll answer it, because if I'll keep answering it, it will be going. As I said, that's why I hope each one of you had got an email as a confirmation to your event reminder that you are registered. And one thing was mentioned in that: if you have any question, please post it. So I request that maybe you can post your questions again, and I will answer it, because otherwise we'll miss out on some other important areas on interview coaching. So let's get into this part called interview coaching. Uh, Now, what this interview coaching is all about? The first and the foremost thing that we all know, that how to give interviews, particularly with respect to the preparation. But a very important part that happens in the interview is called 50% of it is your preparation, and 50% of it is self-confidence. I think that you cannot learn. That happens at the moment, that happens on the go, that happens on the situation. So you may prepare your interview as much as possible, as much as you want, but the effectiveness of that interview will vary what kind of confidence you carry with you when you go for that particular interview. Sometimes what happens, maybe you would have thought about, it will be like a one-on-one interview between two people, between you and the interviewer. And while you land up at that place, you find there are three people sitting over there, and you start shaking. This is something I say that a lot of people, when I ask them, do you require, or my team, when they ask, do you require interview coaching? They say, no, we are very well prepared. And they might be, because they know what kind of questions and answers to be given. And I sit on the interview board. I've seen that people sometimes, they're lost, absolutely lost, the moment things are asked beyond their course. Because while you are answering your questions in the interview, what is not in your control is your body language, what you are expressing, what is your hand movement, where is your eye movement, where is your head movement, where you are keeping your heads on your thighs, or you're keeping it on the table, you're keeping it like this, or you're keeping it like this. Everything has a meaning, and it speaks a lot. Though the interviewer may not realize it, the interviewee may not realize it, but as an interviewer, at least a seasoned interviewer like me can easily catch those things. So one of the very important part about this whole piece is self-confidence. So we'll talk about it. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. Now, I'm just sharing that why five reasons why people fail or succeed in a job interview. So depending on your your preparation, depending upon your way of looking at things, you may fail or you may succeed. Now, what are these? Number one, lack of preparation, as simple as that. And I would say the number one reason of lack of preparation is overconfidence. I have seen it myself with me happening it. I have seen it with many number of people. Overconfidence is the only killer when you are not able to clear your interview, because they feel, why to prepare? And this is a typical problem with people who are people manager, who take interviews, because they feel that, they take interviews, they know how to take it. When they know how to take interviews, so what is so different that if they have to give an interview, it is not a matter of problem. But let me tell you, even the best and the top, I get calls from people who are at director level. I'm not joking. I know that people who are, because my colleagues have now moved to that level. They are at vice president or a business head level. They call me that, okay, they are going for an interview. Arun, let's discuss about some of the toughest questions that comes to your mind. And these are my responses. What do you think they are? So they bounce off those questions. That clearly reflects that even when they are at the topmost level, they prepare very well for the interview. They just don't go that I'm the business head or I'm the vice president or I'm the director. So I take interviews, I select people. So what to do? And even if I don't prepare, but they do prepare and they go very deep. I sometimes even I take a lot of time to think about what should be an appropriate answer, because they come with a lot of such tough questions which judges their behavior. Because friends, I must tell you, as you move up into your role, as you grow up into your role, you will be evaluated less on technical skills, but more on behavioral skills. The more you are at the junior level, you would be evaluated mostly on technical skills and behavioral skills. But as you go up, it is purely behavioral skill. So you may not know, you may be an engineer, but you may not know how to operate, or you may be, but they want to see that how you would behave with people who are going to work under you. So a lot of questions are on that area. So number one is preparation. Number two, negative attitude. Now you might be wondering, if I'm going for an interview, why I would reflect a negative attitude. People reflect negative attitude in their body language. People reflect negative attitude when some difficult questions are asked to them. Like, for example, why you left your job, or for example, why you want to change your current organization. If you are doing so well, if everything is going so well for you, why you want to change this job. And many a times, some people may not say, but even what they know inside, it reflects on their face. Very clearly, it reflects on their face. I've seen it n number of times. Though they may say a lot of nice, positive, sweet words, but they can't control their body language. So this is another part one has to be very careful about when they are in an interview. Next, lack of enthusiasm. If you don't have enthusiasm, if you don't have energy, if you don't have excitement in what you talk, it makes no sense. You will not be able to clear. Nobody wants a dull person in their organization. Nobody. And it is reflected, enthusiasm is not just reflected that how loud you speak. It is not reflected by that. It's your body language that speaks, that you're looking forward to, that you're leaning forward to, that you're listening, not hearing. There's a difference between listening and hearing. So a lot of things are seen in terms of your enthusiasm, how cheerful you are, how much glow is there in your eyes, because your eyes speaks much more than what you speak from your lips. So this is something very important that one has to be paying attention. Lack authenticity. What is the meaning of lacking authenticity? Very simple. That they are not confident about what they are saying, because they are just fudging the data, or they are quoting examples which may not have happened in their life. So okay, I'll give you a tip. I think I have given this tip to many people. So we use our right brain and we use our left brain in our thinking pattern. How many of you have heard about this concept of right brain and left brain? Just tell me yes or no, that's all. I'll tell you something very unique today. There's a right brain and there is a left brain. How many of you have heard about it? Okay, just type yes or no, okay? Okay. Any more? Okay, you have not heard. Okay, some. So what I'm getting a sense about it, that it's 50-50, some people have heard about it, some people have not heard. So, we use our right brain more towards imagination. So if I'll ask you, let's say that, where would you go for holidays next year? Or where are you planning to go for holidays next year? There is a tendency that you will imagine, you will go into your right hand side and you will start thinking it. But if I'll ask you 3 years back, where did you go for your vacations? People think from their left side. This is as simple as that, because this side of the mind is analytical. It's logical. So you bring that logic, analytical thinking from your left side. And you know, I have attended one of the very toughest assessment center. In that assessment center, I was giving the interview, and opposite to me there were 3 people who were sitting. One in the center who was asking me questions. On my left, there was a person who was writing whatever I was saying. Everything he was writing on the page with the speed of what I was telling. And on the right hand side, there was a person who was sitting. He was only watching my eyes. He was only watching my eyes. And on top of it, there was a video camera that was kept on the right hand side, and I was shorted for that. So that was the assessment center that I went through many years back. And you know, the person who was looking at my eyes, he was only looking at my eyeball movement when I'm answering something. If I was imagining a situation which has happened in the past and I'm imagining about it, that means I'm lying. But if I'm using my left brain and I'm thinking about a situation of the past, that means I am not lying, I'm telling the truth. Did you learn something? Was it useful? How your right and left brain works and how people evaluate in the interview process? Just type, was it useful? Did you learn something on this? And I want you to try it out. I want you to try it out with people when you interact with them. Ask them questions similar to this question, that where did you go for holidays, or where, and I'm sure they would not be knowing what you're asking, but ask them very randomly and just check this movement, right and left brain movement. And this can be used for many more purposes, but this is one of the most common purposes that it has got. Okay, lack of authenticity. So one can check the lack authenticity very simply like this. Next is lack clarity. When I say lack clarity, means they don't know what they are here for. A lot of time people are not clear, you know, and particularly this question is asked, okay, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Or where do you see yourself in your career? What is the career goal that you are holding? They're not clear. And generally, I've seen a lot of people think about only the next level management role that they have seen their bosses, and they would love to answer that particularly. I want to be a sales manager. I want to be a marketing head, or I want to be. So, you know, and they are not, because since they are not clear, they are not authentic, they are not feeling enthusiastic about it, they fail. And look at the reverse. If you do it all things simultaneously, there's nobody who can stop you from succeeding from an interview. This is again as simple as that. Okay, so let's move into the next one. What are the most common mistakes people do? One is lack of professionalism. Again, very simple, lack of professionalism. So few months back, we as an organization conducted certain interviews in an organization, and we informed the candidates that tomorrow morning is your interview, and you have to come at so and so time slots at a particular place, and you have to reach on time, and you have to be half an hour before the time. And you won't believe, I'll give you 2 examples of lack of professionalism. Out of that, one of them called me early morning at 7 a.m. Sir, yesterday I was in a party with my organization. I mean, there was a function in my organization. I was in a function. So I could not take the printout of my CV. Since you are also sitting on the interview board, can you please bring one copy of the interview? Please bring one copy of my CV. What impression will I carry of this person that he is not even organized? Will he deserve to be in that organization? Not at all. Number 2, we all know phone manners, you know, that we should not be using it very often, particularly when you are into an interview or when you want to be in that stage. So one person who landed in that interview, he had come specifically like 20 minutes back, and he was sitting on the reception, and probably he got a call. And this gentleman was on a call for at least 10 minutes, and everybody was watching that he came for an interview. He was sitting over there, and constantly he was on a phone call. for 10-15 minutes, though he was not loud, but he was. There's, so that shows, you know, your sincerity towards for what purpose you have come. Are you attentive to what you have come, or you have a lot of things on the back of your mind burning and you want to attend that? First and the foremost thing, you should not even bring your phone to those situations. You have to keep that phone on a lock system or whatever, because you need to give your 100%. So this is just an example of lack of professionalism. There can be many more. Lack of preparation, which we have already said. Lack of content. I've seen people who give interviews fantastic. They speak English fantastic. They have communication skills in terms of speaking. I would say the voice modulation is fantastic. But when it comes to content, zero. Do you understand what is the meaning of content? Anybody who doesn't understand, just type no. I will explain that. Otherwise, I'll move forward. And the next part is negativity, which I've also conveyed in my. So these are common mistakes. So when you don't have content, when you don't have meat, nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to see your smiles. Nobody wants to, listen to your rubbish thing that you're talking. People want to listen content, which makes people alert and listen to you. And this is what happens, which I said that, you know, when you see an ad on a social media or on a newspaper or anywhere, and you want to read further, it's only because of the content. So you need to work on that piece very, very effectively. If you are not, you may be a hollow voice and you may not be moving ahead. Now, what are the best practices? As I said, be authentic. Very simple. You need to be very authentic. Who you are, that is what you need to do. Next, sell yourself. Now, what is sell yourself? So again, I come from a sales and marketing background, and I've been doing it for many years. So I believe, you know, when you are in an interview, you have to sell yourself in 2 minutes. That is always the agenda. That is called an elevator pitch. So many of you, some of you, if you don't know what is elevator pitch is something that you enter into an elevator and by chance you bumped into the head of that organization and he asks you, okay, you tell me about yourself. So in 2 minutes, how you sell yourself is the key. That is called as elevator pitch. Next, be concise. When I say be concise, means be a man of few words, but those words have to have that content. Because I've seen people will come and talk and talk and talk, and then the interviewer will interrupt you to move to the next question. Because people love talking. Because when we ask people, you know, when they come out of the interview, how was your interview? People say, fantastic. It was very good. And you know why it is very good, why they feel so good? Because somebody gave them their ears. They wanted to listen to that person. So I have seen that hardly anybody would say that my interview did not go well. People would easily spend today 25 to 40 minutes for an interview. But if you are concise, if you are very, very concise in your information, if you're effective in your words, you can convey a lot important things by few words. The same applies in your resume. The right words, the words that create that sound, can create that kind of a message. And show a lot of enthusiasm, show a lot of energy. But as I said, if you lack content, this enthusiasm will work absolutely negative on you. Absolutely negative on you. So I tell people, you know, what is the best way is a very simple tip that I want to give. The way you meet your customers, topmost customers, when you visit them, how do you behave? What kind of energy you carry? What kind of confidence that you speak with? The same applies for an interview. As simple as that. Okay. Okay, till this time, if everything is clear, can I get a message? Yes, no, it's clear. Because it's a vast topic, I try to cover to an extent. Is this clear? Just type yes or no. That will give me an idea that whether we are on this piece or not. Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks. If this has really added value to you. Okay, now I have to offer you, because the point is that some people contacted us and they wanted, and that is one of the reasons, you know, I'm doing this session on a Thursday, which we normally don't do. So I want to share a package offer. This is a package offer which will tell you a lot about what HCN I'm here to offer. There are 3 parts to this package. One is called interview coaching, one is called resume building, and followed by one of the most important part is one-on-one session. So we are offering we are offering a package. If anybody is interested, anybody is looking forward to develop the skills, this is the package that I'm offering, which will have all these three. Because if you have only one of it, you may not have a one-on-one session, and you will have a lot of doubts which are left in your mind and you want to clarify, because some of those things must have lingered on and you may not have got a right answer to it. So this package will offer everything together. Now, what will this package offer when it comes to interview coaching? Number one, it will help you to bridge a gap between your current interview performance and peak interview performance. So from your current interview performance to the peak interview. So I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman who took this interview coaching from me. And you know what was his question? His worry was that he said, Arun, I'm good in my interview because I take interviews. He was a regional manager and he was going for a next level interview. He said, I'm everything fine. But you know what happens when I go for an interview, particularly when the board is sitting, when managing directors, vice presidents, and HR directors are sitting, I get nervous. And that is very obvious, you know, when you are sitting in front of such senior people, you are tend to get nervous. And he says, when I get nervous, I miss out on the key important points to speak at that point. Though I know everything, but I miss out on it. So if you take this interview coaching, this will help you to bring you to your peak performance on that particular time at that particular stage. And that will further help you to gain more confidence to give your interviews successfully. The chances are very, very high. And for your information on record, that gentleman cleared that interview. Right now, he has moved to a new city called Bangalore from Mumbai. And this program will also give you tools to assist you when you are answering difficult questions. So you don't know how to answer difficult question. This will give you a lot of clarity about how to answer those difficult questions. Number two comes resume building. So when you are struggling to find out the right wordings, it is not very easy sometimes that you can find out the right wordings to construct the whole picture in your 2 pages or 1 pages. It is difficult. So you can get or make the right impression with your current resume. Because let me tell you, friends, there is very, very important part in this world as the competition, technology, everything is growing fast. The value of keywords is very, very important, because like we search anything on Google by writing a keyword and we see the options. Similarly, job portals, people use keywords to search people. So say if I want to search somebody from a hospital experience, so I will use hospital business, or something on key accounts. That will help me to find that resume. So if you have those kind of keywords, this resume making will give you that idea that how to use those keywords that can help you to go for that search. And last but not the least is one-on-one session. So once everything is done and you are clear about what you want to do, then you get one-on-one session where I help you clear all your doubts and I help you to give you those kind of tips which you don't get anywhere, so that your chances may increase. It may still not guarantee, of course it will not guarantee, but your chances will increase, your awareness will increase, and once your awareness is increased, you will become much more confident in whatever you do. This package, this complete package costs 10,000 rupees, just 10,000 rupees, because you get everything. My personal time that also is counted in that. But because you people have taken the effort, you have come, you have spent almost with me, how much time? It's already 1 hour, 20 minutes that you are with me. I'm offering this entire package only at 7,000 rupees. But if you go and do it on the website, it will cost you only 10,000 rupees. But for this group, for this message, this will cost you only 7,000 rupees, all three together. So if you are interested, if you are keen, you can write me on my email ID and my team will get back to you on this. And those of you who may not know my email ID, I'm just announcing it. I'm sure you all would have got an email from me as a reminder for this webinar. My email ID is arun.thukral@hcnconnect.in. arun.thukral@hcnconnect.in. And let me reply you all in case if you want this to happen. arun.thukral@hcnconnect.in. So, okay. I don't know whether this message is going on. I don't know, this message is not going, but I'm sure you each would have got this particular message, that in case if you are interested, you can get this offer only in 7,000 rupees. Do let me know whenever you are interested. But let me also tell you further what all you will get in this package. What will you learn? You will learn these important aspects if you get into the interview coaching. I'm just giving you the overview. What are the different types of interviews? What are the different types of interviewers? What are the best practices? Answering inappropriate questions, what to wear, mastering the non-verbal communication, analyzing the job descriptions. This coaching will cover all these parts so that you should know. What else? Tell me about yourself, how to answer this question. What do you want to, why do you want to work here? It will answer this question. It will answer the most important part about behavioral question, because this is the most trickiest part of the interview when interviewer asks you a behavioral question. What happened when you did not listen to your boss, or what happened when you were not able to do a particular task? What did you do? What did you tell your boss? Now these are typical behavioral questions, and they are very, very tricky questions because they want to know why you did something and how you did something. Because when you answer why you did something and how you did something, it brings out your behavior. And this is something you will learn about here. Then you will learn about what are your strengths. A lot of time you have seen that people write their strengths randomly only by putting whatever that has been written in their resume for. You will learn how to find out your own strength. You will learn a lot about weakness, because if I ask you even right now, tell me your one or two weaknesses or improvement areas. A lot of time people do not realize what is the difference between a weakness and an improvement area. Number two, when it comes to weakness, they feel absolutely uncomfortable how to answer that question, because tomorrow that question may not become, that answer may not become a reason of their rejection, because a lot of time this fear is in the mind of a lot of people. So you will learn when you take this course, you will also learn how to talk about your weakness confidently and with an upfront mind. The next is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Again, this question is asked in various interviews. And last but not the least, salary questions. If you have done everything good, everything great, if you don't know how to negotiate salary, either you will end up getting less salary, or you may miss out because you don't know how to negotiate a salary. You may miss out on a very important opportunity, or you are paid less. So salary negotiation, salary questions, how to handle them, how to talk to them, everything is there in this course end to end. Only thing is, if you buy this, you will also get your resume. You will also get a 1 hour session with me, and you will get complete picture of how to prepare yourself for it. If you really believe it, don't stop yourself. Send a mail. My team will get back to you on this. Now, coming to the last part, another 5 minutes I'll take. I hope you're all patient with me till this time, and you will get a lot of insights further. Now, there are 3 questions that came to me. I'll answer one by one. Number one, the question that came to me, what should be the ideal answer for switches in 3 to 4 years? Now, again, this is very contextualized. Now, there is no ideal answer that why you are making a switch from 3 to 4 years, because number one, you need to identify what are your goals in your life, what are the goals that you want to achieve in your job, in your current job, and what is that you are going to achieve in that place. So if you are very clear that you have achieved certain goals in your current job and you're not running away from that job, you are aspiring to go further because you want to achieve something bigger in your life, you should customize your answer accordingly. So don't answer anything that my boss is not good, my company is not good, my salary is not good, my products are not good, or maybe, I did not get any opportunities of growth there due to which I'm looking out for a job. Don't give any such reasons. These are all reasons of negativity. They will not take you anywhere. Rather, people will feel, I'll tell you, this is again a behavioral question, that if you answer it like this, they will feel this is not the right person, because 6 months down the line, if I'll hire him, he will start complaining even in this place also. So you need to change your mental attitude. Now, when it comes to salary expectations, you need to be a little specific about your question, but still I can tell you that salary expectation here means very simply that I can give you a few tips. First and foremost is, don't come out with any salary number in your first or second interview if it is with the hiring manager. Because the hiring manager, even if they ask you, they are just testing you. Because they are not the person who are going to decide your selection in terms of salary. It is the HR, the person who is into the talent acquisition role. has the role and normally has the role to negotiate salary with you. So normally that stage will come only if you have cleared all the interview rounds. However, if you still get a question about salary, that what is the salary expectations you get, be smarter. Don't get into the answer of 10%, 20%, 30%. Simply say that I'm looking forward to work with you. That is more important to me than salary right now. And you may get a counter question. So that means if I don't give you any salary growth, you will hire me. Answer it smartly and say, it's not about zero salary. I'm sure if I am capable, you will pay me as per market standards. Now, if you answer this way, what you are ensuring is you are not committing any figure, but you are giving a full commitment of your work towards that organization and the right reason for you to join that organization. If your first reason is only money, nobody is going to hire you, because later on, some people are smart, later on they try to twist a lot, and companies keep a note of it because they also keep at least 2 or 3 candidates parallel to them when they are selecting a particular candidate. So if you become too much money minded, that means you are not true to your purpose. You are just going for the money's sake. Even if you get a job and even if you get a money, you will not be able to stay there longer, because within 6 months, you will find that you will feel that salary is less. Your expenses will go up, and then you will feel that this organization is no different from the previous one, and you will go for another job, and there is no satisfaction in this stage. I don't know if I've answered this question. Last, if interviewer asks, would you like to know anything or ask anything? So good thing is that ideally you should be asking about the growth aspects about your job. You should ask about this, because if a company cannot answer about the growth of the job that you are applying, so let's say that if I'm applying for a particular post, and if I ask them, okay, what are the growth opportunities in this role, and if I'm not able to get an answer, then is it really worth going there, or is that person capable enough to give? Is the right person that is answering that question? So always ask about the growth opportunities, because that should be in the back of your mind. Why I'm joining this organization? And people again who do not understand the growth in the role or in the job that they are aspiring for, they quit very fast, because they feel bored after some time, because they feel they do not get any challenge in what they are doing, because they feel that this is not the place for them, and they remain confused. And the proof of this particular statement that I'm making is, you can check their CVs. Within 4 or 5 years, they would have changed 2 or 3 jobs. This is what I have seen very closely. And after changing 3 or 4 jobs, they realize that what mistakes they have made. And that brings that clarity to them. Anyways, so thank you all so very much for staying for so long and listening to me patiently. Tell me, how was it? Did it add value to you? Was it useful to you? I'm waiting for your comments. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer if I have time. If people are waiting, people are okay, I can definitely wait for it. Okay, fantastic. As I said, very soon you will be able to get a lot of more insights. I'm going to create a lot of, I am already on the verge of creating a lot of content, which is all about how to create that personal effectiveness in you, how to be more effective in whatever you do, even if you are in a people manager role or you are in an individual role, how you can be productive, can become a very charismatic personality in your organization. But as I said, most likely that is going to be a paid session, which you will know very soon in my messages. So thank you so much. In case if you are interested, you can type it and send a mail to me on my email ID. My team will get back to you. And good night. Enjoy yourself.